This video I'm going to go through essentials to be keeping in the calves house when you're calf rearing. I always say the most important piece of equipment any calf rearer should have is a decent digital thermometer. These are the normal temperatures for a calf. I tend to give antibiotics for any calf with a temperature over 103. Depending on how poorly they are, the main antibiotic I use is Alleimycin long-acting, and I give about 7 ml for a calf from about 4 weeks old, but just sort of estimate their weight. If I give Alleimycin, then I'll also give 2.5 ml of Metacam. This stuff is an absolute lifesaver for calves. If a calf is extremely poorly, down, not getting up, then I'll always give rest floor. It's very expensive, but this really works. For a calf with pneumonia, within 24 hours they can be recovered. Any bacterial infections or navel ill, foot problems, then I give pen and strep. Pen and strep and Alleimycin are both intramuscular injections, so I give those in the muscle in the back leg. Rest floor and Metacam I give in the neck under the skin. This is the pneumonia vaccine that I use, which is Rispoval intranasal. It comes in glass vials, and you make the liquid up yourself, and each calf gets 2 ml. And there's applicators that you just place into the nose with a syringe, and you just squirt it up the nose, and then done, they're covered then. I always keep in stock a variety of different size syringes. This one I'd use if I needed to tube a calf and give hydration or milk. 10 ml, 5 ml syringes. I also use different gauge needles. I tend to use the pink ones, which are 18 gauge needles for medications like Alleimycin, rest floor, that are quite thick liquids. I use the yellow ones, which are 20 gauge for giving Metacam, pen and strep, and then the green ones, which are 21 gauge. This is what I use when I'm giving the adrenocane, which is used for numbing the horn buds before dehorning. I give 2 to 3 ml per bud in the nerve there to make sure that they can't feel it at all. This is just an example of a pour-on which you can use for calves as long as they're over 50 kilograms in weight. This worms them, which is down here. And it's also good for lice. Now a calf can go back extremely quickly if they get lice. They can get anemic, they can get very depressed, they'll lose weight and lose condition. So I try and do this within the first month of bringing them onto the farm. All our calves come from markets, so they come from multiple different farms. So this always needs to be done when we bring them home. Another thing I always keep in stock is some glucose powder. If a calf's not well, not eating, drinking very well, I'll add this to some nice warm water, and it will just give them a bit more energy, which helps them feel better. Another thing I always keep on hand, this is empty, but is honey. If you're struggling to get a calf to drink, I always add some honey into their milk, or I dip their teat of their bottle into the honey, and they're more likely to suck on the teat and drink their milk. It's also good for giving them, if you don't have any glucose, for giving them a bit of energy. I give it if they've got a bit of scours or something like that. So, a good old purple spray. After they've been dehorned, we'll spray where their buds were with purple spray, just to help with any infection. We also use this if we get any feet problems, or very rarely we get any wounds, but this is just great to have on hand. I always keep a bottle in my farm truck as well for when I'm out dealing with the bullocks. So this is my calf book for this year, and in here it's medication, calf information, my routine and day to day. So as soon as any calf gets given an injection, I'll write the date, their last 4 digits of their ear tag number, what I give them and for why. So this one had an infection in the navel, so 3-day course of pen and strep. We had a few calves with some temperatures. Also, every calf that I bring on the farm, within 24 hours, each calf gets 7 ml of Alleamycin. This is because they come from multiple farms. They could be immune to their bugs, but it could easily spread to other calves here. And since I've started doing this, it's reduced the amount of antibiotics I use through their sort of calf time by more than half. I write down batch codes, expiry dates of anything that I use also, because sometimes you lose the boxes. And I'll also write the temperature that the calf has had, just for a bit of information. Everything gets written in here, and then the calf information, the week that they were born, how much they cost, what pen they're in. This is just easy to look back when I'm weaning. I can see which groups need weaning at what time. This is just their names, whether they're bull or heifers. Just a little bit of information about temperatures. I just quickly wrote out a bit of my routine in case I got ill or for some reason I couldn't do it, then my partner could read through this and know what needs to be done. I always have a torch in here, as well as I've got a couple of head torches just in case of power cut. Obviously I need to be able to see what's going on, and as I showed in the other video, I just keep just a little supply of some Gamgee bandage, just in case we have any accidents here for humans or animals. So I've pretty much got everything that I can give them here. I also just keep a box of non-latex nitrile gloves, just in case I need to do something that I don't want to get germs in, or for myself or the calves. I rarely get any calves with scours, but if I do, then I always make sure that they have electrolytes, plenty of water. This one's good because you can actually add it to their milk. If I have a calf that's got a little bit of scours, which does happen from time to time, then I'll also cut down their milk powder and add more water, so they're keeping them hydrated, which is absolutely vital when they're young. So I keep calves in individual pens, but they only stay in their individual pen until they're weaned from milk. This way I can tell exactly what they're drinking and what they're eating. It's easier then to keep on top of any problems that they might be having. The trouble when you have them in groups, these have been weaned, is you don't know who's drinking and eating what. So until they're off milk, I like them to be in their pens, and these are 6 foot long by 3 foot wide. These have been weaned, so they're just in bigger pens at the moment, just while they're getting over. They can go back a little bit once they've been weaned, but mine don't tend to, because I start them on nuts from day one. All these calves are eating about 4 kilograms of nuts each a day, and they're just calf rearing nuts. Once they've sort of settled in properly, they've got into their little groups, then they'll all be put into a bigger shed together, where they can run around and play with each other and have plenty of room, fresh air, and be outside. So that at the moment is what these are doing. They were weaned last week, so we tend to put them in groups of 3. We just take the herd dividing hurdles out and make sort of bigger pens for them. They're very social animals. They like to be able to interact with each other, and in a few days all of these are going to be moved into the bigger shed, and they'll have a whole shed to themselves to play with. They've all been dehorned, they've got over that, they've all been castrated, they've all had their pneumonia vaccines, and they've all eaten and drinking really well. So now I don't need to worry about them. I'm happy for them to be moved out into the bigger shed together. Something else that's vital is straw. It used to be that people fed hay to calves, but it was actually found that straw is much better for them. Even though there's no nutritional sort of benefits of straw, it activates the stomach better. It scratches the inside of their gut, helping to produce mucus in the stomach, which helps them actually digest their food better, so they'll actually do better on the nuts than they would if they were only given hay. And this is the shed.